Hello, hello, hello. This is episode 69. And I would like to talk about how the Course sees us, the openings that the Course offers us to see ourselves differently, and connect that to some ways that non-duality offers, and not make one better or one worse, but have more offerings for all of us. So the Course, in a way, bursts our bubbles. For those of us who come in thinking we're nice people, and pretty soon the Course reveals to us we might act nice, but we have secret hidden thoughts, and many of them are attack thoughts. They're selfish thoughts. They're personal thoughts, feelings, and it develops a very comprehensive view of what the Course calls the ego. And a great deal of the Course is devoted to showing us that that's how we act, that's how we feel, that's how we think, in all the egotistical ways that you can think of, and then some more. But least or less that have us believe that we're worthless, which is what we believe because we believe in separation. And the Course repeatedly tells us that our only problem is a belief in separation. That's why we're so grabby. That's why we're trying to kill off other people so that there's enough for ourselves. These imagined small selves that need to grab as though our good was not on its way. Now, the ego lives in a world of polarities, good and bad, right and wrong, up and down. And the Course talks to us in some of these ways. Because we have guilt, because of our attack thoughts about God and the way we treat other people, the Course says, you think you are this miserable being. And guess what? That's not who you really are. You are my innocent child. Now, yeah, we do feel immature. And that's very comforting to many people. I know it was for me for many, many years, to have a loving father, to feel that my good was on its way, to believe that I truly am innocent and that I could rectify my attack thoughts through the Holy Spirit, through forgiveness, through straightening out my thoughts. Matter of fact, my thoughts are so powerful when I am thinking with God, meaning loving thoughts, that in itself can rectify all the past injuries that I think I've done, and that perhaps there's evidence that in the world that I've done. But all of this is like a play, the Course tells us, and nothing actually really happened except as though it was a play act, that this is not the real world. The only real world is the world of God, the world of truth, the world of oneness, the world of love. Now, the love that the Course talks about is very important. It's not that high feeling, oh, you gave me what I want, you completed me. It's not actually even a feeling. I mean, it could be said to be a feeling, but it's more than a feeling. It has more connection to that word agape, where we can love everyone and not like them. It's that phrase, goodwill toward all men, because they are us, because we are what God is. And these concepts are all through the Course. You could call them truths, you could call them concepts. If they're not yours yet, you'll call them a concept. If they're yours, you'll call them truth. Today, I'd like to offer just some slightly different language, because neuropsychology shows that our brains get very weary and stop learning when we use the same words over and over. So by now, whether you're a new Course student or a very long time experienced Course student and teacher, like most of you, the word ego is not a good word. So when you notice that you're exhibiting the traits of what the Course describes as ego characteristics, you're not feeling very good, I'm thinking. How do you feel when you notice those feelings, those discrepancies between an attack thought and a loving thought? Ego's attack. What's left when we're not in ego? Could we go there together right now? The ego is out front. The ego is what manifests in the world. The ego is how we interact, ego to ego. Yes, miracles happen and we bypass the ego. But for the most part, we're improving the separate self. We're becoming more excellent, supposedly. So when we're improving and fixing ourselves, we're getting more, we're doing more, we're trying to have more. That's the outer world. And it requires egos to play in it. I love what Jennifer Hadley came up with some years ago about the ego being like a puppet. And she was meaning that the real self, the holy self, can move the puppet around and put the puppet aside. That the ego is nothing in and of itself. But today when I was thinking of the effects that society has on us, this be more, do more, have more, it's very popular in life coaching. And I've been exposed to a lot of life coaches in the process of writing my recent book. And this be more, have more, do more is kind of the ego's song, because then I'll be acceptable. So I'd like to try out some language just to offer you now. You can go back to ego and Holy Spirit and God, but just for today, would you try on the personal and the impersonal? Wouldn't you say that the ego fits in the category of personal? right? The Course says, in my defenselessness, my safety lies. That word defenselessness brings us to the impersonal. Egos are defensive. Egos fight. Egos win and lose. The impersonal. So I want to finish with the puppet. What if the puller of the puppet strings was society and the outer world, saying you're better if you have a bigger house, if you have a great car, if you have a beautiful partner or a handsome partner or smart kids or clever kids or whatever accoutrement, whatever thing you value. That's the personal self. And what if, in combination, the outer world with its dictates that now reside in the personal self? So the personal self is the puppet. And what if society, its teachings, were the holder of the puppet strings? We have no idea, I believe, how much we're hypnotized by society's dictates. So I think there's some value, just for today, of seeing what things you do believe, think, value that were given to you by society. Recently, I spoke at a grief conference, and someone said to one of the speakers, actually said, and the degree to which you love the person you lost, quote unquote, is the degree to the pain that you'll have. Well, the rebel that I am, I couldn't stay quiet. And I said, yes, that's what we're taught by society. To stay in pain reveals how much you love this person. But what? Why does that have to be? First of all, if you really know that the person was a body and you're a body, but you're more, you're both more, you're something that's not limited. How can we express that? How can we picture that? Because it's not a form, it's not a body. But what if it were expressed in a way by the impersonal? That was my opening to the word. I am connected to my daughter, Melissa, who died unexpectedly or passed on at age 39. I am connected to her in a partnership, but it's impersonal. It feels very personal in the sense that beings communicate with one another. You might say it's Holy Spirit, but Holy Spirit and God are steps outside of me. Even though the Course suggests that they're not. But when the Course talks also about God the Father and his vehicle, the Holy Spirit, they do sound like they're outside of me. And I understand the Course starts where we are, so we needed that. But what if this impersonal self is the way non-duality thinks of it? It's available to us as the I am. I am came before I am Rosalind, before I am David, before I am Mary or Joseph. The I that was you at 5 and 15 and 20 is still the same I that's you in your 60s, even though you think different thoughts, you act differently. What is that true I that stays with you? That's not personal. It feels like I in the sense of the most intimate, but it's there when thoughts and feelings go, when actions go. Maybe it's even there when the body goes. Nobody can say for sure. But what if? We don't know if it hangs around a while, but we do have a lot of data to understand that there's an impersonal way that we're all connected, and that's through the I am. Before you became a writer or a singer or an artist, just in our being is how we're connected to the impersonal. Not in our doing. We look different, we do different things, but in our being, that's where the oneness is. And not just with special people like my Melissa or your whoever. It's the personal self that attaches and identifies that way. But when we let go the attachments, if we're lucky enough to do it even in death, we get to experience an impersonal love. It's not a high. It's not about success. It's not about how you complete me or I do this for you. It's that shared being. I heard a phrase from non-duality from actually Rupert Spira. Let's see if I can resurrect it for you today. It's I am the love from which I love. So that feeling of personal love is only capable to us from the impersonal that we all have. Let's go there ourselves and see what it might be like. Today, let's start with a light. Let's start with a light that comes from outside, whether it's a light bulb or the moon or the sun, and it's radiating in our direction. And now we're filled with light. My eyes are filled with light. Are yours? The light is filling us. What is it like to be filled with light? Does it feel like all is well? Does it feel like contentment? We don't usually think of this emptiness as being full. Light is empty of thoughts and feelings and plans. And yet, if you were able to join me in being filled with light, you experienced maybe a fullness. The impersonal is a really good way to describe light. Most of us didn't say my light. And yet, when we allow ourselves to be full of light, we're both empty of thoughts and feelings and plans, and full. What are we full of? Why are we content? Have you left the rat race of wanting, hoping, doing, getting more? That's the personal. Some people think, and this has been trained into us, that the impersonal means you don't care, you're not feeling. Actually, you're able to feel more deeply because you're not distracted by competitive thoughts and feelings of the personal. What about me? Am I good? Am I bad? Did I do right? Did I do wrong? What's beneath that is just our being. Just being opens up doors. We think just being is nothing. You need to be accomplishing. What are you offering the world? What are you doing? What if somebody answered you, I'm doing the rat race, I'm running from this to that, and I'm very unsatisfied, and my life feels worthless, and I connect to so many people who kill themselves? What if somebody said that? We don't have a lot of permission to be authentic. When I went to the grief conference, somebody said, I was so relieved when my father died. I couldn't tell anyone, so I pretended to grieve. When was the last time you pretended something? What if this person could have showed up and said, boy, today's rough because I feel like I should pretend that I'm sad that my father died, but I'm not. He was really mean to me. Would that possibly have been an holy instant when that person spoke the truth rather than pretending? How often do we give space to people to be their honest selves? When Melissa died, so many people would say to me, I know what you're going through. Actually, I wanted to say, no, you don't. Especially when I stopped hurting, when I had my personal realization of okayness, that I was okay, even though she was no longer in the world. There weren't too many people I could say that to. And when I could, it was like Christmas. It was, my heart was free. So, what if you were Christmas to somebody else and give them openings to be truthful and real, no matter where they are in life? We've had so many suicides lately of people who couldn't tell their truth. So I'm feeling like we need to speak of this more. Thank you for being with me today. I believe our time is up. And I would like to end with my new verse. May truth be revealed. Let love prevail. If you would like to say that with me, may truth be revealed. Let love prevail. May truth be revealed. Let love prevail. Thank you, everybody. Bye for now.